Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, check out the playlist, all that good stuff. Now we have Palmdale, representing for the Palmdale writers, Little Rock writers, and all of that. Then after that, Lancaster. But for now, we in Palmdale, so starting off with
Straight from the block that was brought up in the G spot. Gang banging, boy, you know we kept the streets hot. You kept the through cause if not, boy, you get shot. And fuck the vest, I grip the Glock cause they blow tops. And talking shit was the quickest way I'm getting dropped. Rumbles at the park, sleep, you were getting hot. You heard the system booming right before you getting bobbed. Tires screeching, doors swinging, you were getting mobbed. And those who lived it understand this was just a plot. Gang banging, homie, this is just the way we're taught.
And now you're starting off right here in Palmdale with one of the most largest hoods is Barrio Palmas 13. Now, not to be confused with Palmas Crazy King family. Those are two different hoods. This one's Southside Palmdale, which is Southside Palmas Deli Mines DM, which is the clique that they're well known for. They got the creators, Playgirls. They got a few cliques, but Deli Mines is the ones that you definitely hear, the most about. They right there representing, definitely putting their hood on the map. And like I said, it's different from the Crazy King family, not the same neighborhood, even though their neighborhoods are roughly close to each other, like almost literally like neck to neck. But the Palmas neighborhood is on Devonshire Street to um, Technology Drive. I think that's the name of that drive. That's right there. All the way to 6th Street, you know, and Avenue Q is where their neighborhood's at. So they're literally, that avenue is literally what separates the Crazy King family and the Palmas neighborhood. So you can find them, throughout Avenue P12. So everything that's in the middle is what they claim as their hood, which is, pretty large chunk in the territory. You know what I mean? And like I said, all three neighborhoods right there, which is straight local soldiers, Palmas and Crazy Kings. Like they they literally right there close to each other. So of course it'd be on and popping right there. You know what I mean? Because they literally all celebrate separated by just literally one boulevard. You know what I mean? You can find these guys chilling right there at the Desert Sand Park as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what's up with the Deli Mines right there. Definitely putting it on the map, holding it down. They're one of the largest, one of the most old school neighborhoods, in that area. So they definitely get it on and popping. But yeah, that's what's up with the Palmas right there, representing. Shout out to the homie Spooky, definitely with it, homie. Shout out to Vago, and shout out to all the homies that be right there. Now with the other largest hood right here, which is the Vado Crazy King family, Palmas neighborhood. So you see it, Palmas, CKF neighborhood. So not to be confused neither with the crazy Mexican family. This is an actual hood that's been up, for quite some time. Um, although they may not be that large because the neighborhoods in Palm are roughly newish. Only going back, um, 80s, 90s. You know what I mean? Some the 60s, but it's rare. You know what I mean? But that's what's up with the CKF right there neighborhood. They definitely be putting it on the map. Like this is one neighborhood law enforcement definitely be having a hard time. Containing now. Now with them, their neighborhood is actually in two different locations. Um, you know, from what I was saying earlier, that their neighborhood is like roughly close to the Southside Palmas Delhi, mines, this one you can find it throughout Avenue Q3, so everything in the middle, which would be like 2nd Street, Stanridge, 3rd, 4th, Larkin, all of that, by the In and Out, all of that is, where their neighborhood's at. But not only that, but they actually have another location because although people may think that this is a separate neighborhood, zoned out gangsters, it's actually a part of the Crazy King family. It's a clique. You know what I mean? It used to be a crew, got in. You know what I mean? So it's not its own neighborhood. It's connected to them, and so but that clique is you can find them more by Ivy Drive, Bayberry Street. Towards that end is where you can find the zoned out gangsters. Clique from the Crazy King family right there, and like I said, man, these guys get on and popping, definitely put it on the map and representing right there for the neighborhood, homie. Now here you have the YBR, and I covered them in the San Fernando Valley already, but they are right here also in Palmdale, by what's called Pearland, is where their neighborhood's at. So what's from 47th to 55th to Avenue S to Avenue R. So everything that's in the middle is what's considered the YBR neighborhood. Um, Very close to the Valverde Park locals, like literally only one street is what separates both neighborhoods. So and the AF is, just right there too. So it's one of these areas where it be popping, like it be cracking, because, when you have so many neighborhoods in one area, I mean, it's bound to pop off. But YBR standing for Young Boy Refi, and same ones as the one in the valley, and, they definitely be right here representing, putting Palmdale on the map. You know what I mean? Right here, you also have the Valverde Park locals. Now, their neighborhood is what's, right down 40th Street to Avenue R to Avenue S to 47th. So everything in the middle was considered their neighborhood. Right there next to YBR, and in the middle of YBR and DAF, you know what I mean? Like, so it should be popping right there, you know what I mean? But like I said, Valverde Park, it's old school large gang in itself too, so, and Valverde is not that far from there, so it's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like technically the same thing, so they get it popping, but that's what's up with the Valverde Park locals right there representing. Here also in Palmdale, right here on Avenue S, you have DAF, which used to be a tank crew that became a neighborhood. Now I can't confirm if they became a neighborhood, but that's what they say, that's what they put, that's what they write. Now DAF used to stand for down as fuck, so it's Vader down as fuck. On the east side of Palmdale, roughly small, and roughly new, obviously, because they haven't been around, that long, because they were a tank crew, that was around since the 90s. But nonetheless, hey, they be kicking up some noise right here, and be representing right there for their set, going at it with the surrounding neighborhoods and putting it on the map. Now their neighborhoods from what's Avenue R to 25th to 35th, so everything in the middle is what's considered their neighborhood, and you know they be right there representing, roaming around and doing their thing. Now here also you have one of the most largest neighborhoods over here in Palmdale as well, but there's a neighborhood that started in LA by Hawthorne, but now they're over here, which is Los Compadres Tres, you know what I mean? LC3. Now this neighborhood is large, old school. They have old school roots. From LA, and it's the same neighborhood. They have several locations in which they're at. Homies move, they recruit. You already know the process how it goes. So they're right here in Palmdale as well. Large chunk right here in Palmdale. Now their territory is from Avenue Q to Palmdale Boulevard to 35th to Avenue Q6. So everything in the middle, which is pretty decent chunk of space, is their neighborhood, and they definitely go at it with the surrounding neighborhoods, and then you hear about these guys. I mean, these guys pushovers, they ain't no chum. You come over your trip, and I mean, it should be cracking on me. And like I said, people underestimate Palmdale and Lancaster in these areas, but man, they have the riders over here definitely representing, putting their neighborhoods on the map. Homie, these guys ain't no chumps. So that's what's up with LC3 right there, and representing, putting it on the map right there. Here you also have a crew that became a neighborhood. Now I can't confirm if they became a neighborhood, but that's what they say. That's what they write. It's the Straight Local Soldiers. That's the SLS. It was roughly a small tank crew. In the 90s. Now they say that they won three. Can't confirm if they won three, but that's what they say. And so they put, and they be right there representing. Holding it down for their side. Their neighborhood is worth from Avenue P1 to all the way to Avenue P2, P3, P4, all the way to P6. So everything that's right there is what's considered their neighborhood, and yeah, that's what's up with the Straight Local Soldiers, and representing him, putting it on the map right there. Another neighborhood that you have right here in this area is the AGK neighborhood, not AGC. I see where people get that confused. It's actually AGK. It's always going crazy. It's roughly a small neighborhood that you can find right here in the area, which is known as Little Rock. Almost by the Little Rock High School. It's roughly a small neighborhood, but nonetheless, hey, they with it. this is another neighborhood that's actually made the news a few times, and law enforcement definitely has a hard time containing this neighborhood, even though they're roughly smaller in size and haven't been around for that long. They be doing their thing, homie. And more trippy about it is that in the 61 you have like white supremacist gangs like the Nazi lowriders and other white supremacist gangs like that, and this neighborhood definitely be going at it with them, like at one point they used to get along, and I guess I don't know what happened, but they be going at it with the Cribs and the whites, more than they do with Hispanic gangs right there in that area known as Little Rock. You can find them what's known through Avenue R14, Avenue R12, Avenue 8, Avenue 4, all the way to Avenue 10 to 102nd Street. Like all of that is what's known as their territory. So they got a pretty chunk size in territory. So there's one neighborhood you hear about, and they definitely be doing their thing right there, representing, and not the only neighborhood in Little Rock, but one of the ones that definitely you hear about. Another neighborhood you right here you have in Little Rock is a Little Rock Desmadroso, tiny white neighborhood. Roughly a small neighborhood, but nonetheless, a neighborhood that you definitely hear about. One of the neighborhoods that gets down and cracking right here in Little Rock next to HGK. Because there's a lot of Crips heads and white supremacist groups and stuff like that. But this neighborhood right here definitely be holding their own, even though they're not as large as some of the other neighborhoods right here in the Antelope Valley. I mean, these guys ain't no pushovers, they ain't no chunks. I mean, you come over, you're tripping. I mean, they get he. They get on and popping on me. These fools ain't no pushovers. The desmadrosos be definitely right there causing desmadres. You know what I mean? But yeah, they be holding it down right there and putting their neighborhood on the map. Definitely, even though they're not large or that old school like some of these other sets. Nonetheless, homie, they definitely keep their block active right there and representing proudly and holding it down. For their neighborhood right there.